Welcome to the Cavity Podcast. Woo! With Jeff Green. Yeah. Sweet talks about nothing.
Let's go.
Hosted by a millennial, a true believer.
You now tune into the biggest,
a serial entrepreneur, talking about faith, self-empowerment,
finding solutions to become the greatest,
entrepreneurship advice, mental health, and guidance through experience.
Bring them out, bring them out.
Hello, this is Jeff Green. You're tuned in to the Cavity Podcast. You guys, welcome, and welcome again. It's good to be talking to you guys again. You know, since the last time we talked, a lot has changed. A lot has gotten better. I've been working on a few things, man, within my businesses and in my brands. I've been perfecting some things on my end, you know, some personal things. Just getting better overall as a businessman. Getting better overall, man, as a father. Getting better overall, going through my healing process and everything. So, you guys, man, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for rolling with me. And I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing great. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And so I just pray, you know, and send peace and healing energy and vibes to everyone that may need it in this time. Because at this time and moment, we're all facing and fighting something. We're all facing and fighting something. I mean, hell, even me, you know, right now I'm in the midst of 3 custody cases, trying to get my kids, you know, on top of running brands and on top of keeping a level head and on top of, you know, dating and different things like that and making time for myself. So it's all about balance in this season. Don't just try not to lean too much one way. Try not to lean too much the other way, but kind of have an even keel approach with things this season, because I feel like balance is what will sustain us, man, as a people in this season. And speaking of my custody battles, man, and this is to black men first, and then men as a whole second. Custody battle. This episode is going to be titled Baby Daddy. Okay? No, it's a crazy topic, but it's an urban ebonic that, you know, I know for a fact will be a good catch for my YouTube caption. So, and I'm just going to simply talk about, you know, my experience in parenting and how I was able to get to where I am now in parenting as a single dad, with multiple, having children by multiple women. So, jumped off the porch early, having children. I was 21 when I had my first child. No, I'm sorry, 22 when I had my first child. Okay? Now, mind you, some of my listeners should already know this. Mind you, I did not have a dad, you know, home situation and stuff like that growing up. Now, we're going to put that as the basis and the pretense. So you have to think about this. Just think about that going into this episode. So out having fun, you know, like most men do. We get out, we start kicking it. We start having unprotected sex. We start going crazy. We start, you know, just doing little things that that's not in alignment with, you know, our higher self and with our future. And everybody's young, you know, everybody makes these kinds of mistakes as far as choices. I'm not saying that the baby was a mistake, but I'm saying as far as choices and decisions. We all make some crazy decisions, men, and that's fine. But all in all, we can always skip the hurdle and get over that with knowledge and education and with doing the right thing and with being there for your children. You can overcome that. So I had my first baby at 21, okay? Had my first child, and when I got the woman pregnant, I was hustling at the time in the streets. So I didn't really fully know what having a child was about at that point in time. I didn't fully understand and get what parenting even was at that time. I was behind the curve. And most men are behind the curve when it comes to stuff like that, being at that young age, especially if you weren't raised in the house with parents who groomed you up to be ready for those situations, or you didn't grow up in a house that made sure that marriage before having babies was instilled. So I had my first child, had my second child about 2 years after that by a different woman, and then had my third child by a different woman, 3 years after that. So that's 3. Now, when I first had each of these children, probably a month or two, maybe 2 to 5 months down the line after having these children, I gets the child support letter. Now I'm like, okay, matter of fact, for the first one, I got took to court for child support. And so I'm like, okay. So in the courtroom, I didn't have nobody. It was just me. As a grown man, once you get in them situations, you on your own. You may have a immediate family, but they're not going to be in the courtroom with you. So I'm just like, I was young and crazy. And I'm like, I'm thinking this is normal. So I'm going along with it. I go to court, and the judge is like, well, we're going to put you on support. How much can you afford? I told him, I'm like, I don't know, maybe $200 a month. The woman said, I want $400. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm thinking this is something that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Now, and this happened in all 3 instances. This is why I'm telling you guys to listen and really educate yourself on being a substantial, standalone, 10-toe down man. Okay? Now, from that point on, I realized and started realizing over time, and I'm just telling you in my mind, I didn't know any better. I know a lot better now. But in my mind, I'm sitting up thinking like, I understand that you have more support than me, and you have, you come from a more substantial family when it comes to support than me. But I'm sitting up thinking like, why is I'm giving more than I'm receiving? Why am I doing that? Why is everything financially based? What is that about? So I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, it still didn't dawn on me. It still didn't dawn on me at that time that I was being took for a ride, because I'm so busy looking at my children. You got to think, I never had a dad. So for me to have kids and be in their lives is the phenomenal, epic mountain peak of my life. Is being in my children's life. So that's all I saw. I wasn't thinking about no money. If it's money, okay, take it. But over time and after a while, that started to become the key and leading factor and the puppet strings to the relationship to my children is money. And this is why I'm telling you guys, black men first, we have to get on top of education and educating ourselves. Because we develop this habit of being told stuff that we do not research, and we become slaves to that misinformation, like I did. Okay? So, what I did was I caught a case in the middle of the first and second child. And I caught the case selling drugs. I was trafficking narcotics from Plano, Texas to St. Louis. And I believe you guys have already heard this story. So I was trafficking that. And once I got out of that, I got into a situation where the lady in court, the judge over my case, I should say, was a lady that went to a church that I was actually playing guitar for at the time, called New Life in East St. Louis, Illinois. Judge Zena Cruz. Thank you, Miss Cruz. You saved my life. Oh, you really did. Miss Judge Zena Cruz seen me on my case, had the docket, and my lawyer at the time, Madeline Daly, they were good friends. I had never been in any trouble. I had never been in, anything legally that was on my record. And so long story short, I ended up getting 2 to 3 years intense probation, which for a drug charge at that time, it was just, marijuana, weed. All they did was drop me. And at the time, I was not consuming weed. I was not doing drugs or anything like that. I was just selling it and hustling to make a living and to make money, to be able to provide for the children and for the child that was on the way. But when I came out of that case, I told the creator, I said, look, if you bring me out of this, I guarantee you I will invest into something. But whatever I invest in and whatever I do, I want you to take my life and make it an example for everybody in the city of East St. Louis to tell them that you can do it too. And so that's what I did. So long story short, I got out the streets and started a legitimate business, a food truck. Okay? So began working the food truck, and later on down the line, I did the most important thing of this baby daddy episode that us black men have to get in the habit of doing, period. I got an LLC. I'm going to say that again because those 3 letters are major. I got an LLC for my business. And what I did was put the LLC under a business bank account. Because research that I had came across told me that if you have an LLC, the LLC operates as an entirely different entity in person, and in court, it cannot stand as you having viable income according to the LLC. Whatever you pay yourself is what you pay yourself. Now, not getting on the LLC and putting this way to get out of paying or to get out of your responsibilities or anything like that. We're talking about protecting yourself, protecting your name, protecting your brand, but more importantly, protecting your relationship with your children. And not being a puppet to the system, a puppet to a baby mama or anything like that. This is what this is all about. This is what this episode is. This is the meat of this episode. This is the meat of it. And I really want to tell people, especially like I said, black men, if you have children out here, please, if the child support is an issue, if that's what the deciding factor is for the relationship with you and your child, open you up a business doing something and get an LLC. And protect yourself. It's protection. Protect yourself. So that's what I did. I got an LLC and I started working out of the LLC and paying myself. And the only thing that you can get from that is the amount that I pay myself monthly or a percentage of that. So that's what I did. Got the LLC, started doing that, and then I joined Recession Proof. Now, this is later on down the line. This is about 2-3 years ago. I joined Recession Proof and ran into a young lady named Sydney Buchanan. Sydney Buchanan is one of our head leaders. I want to say one of the district chapter managers or leaders or something like that she is. But I sat down and I talked with her, and she gave me a little bit more deeper information. Now I'm not living in East St. Louis anymore. At this time when I met Sydney, I'm in Texas. I had transferred from East St. Louis to Texas, moved here to make a better living and a better situation and a better foundation for my family and my children. So I moved here. And when I moved here with the pretense in my mind that I, still expecting help from the baby mamas, thinking that they would, be a partner in be a good parental partner in the relationship, and help fortify the relationship between the child and their father. But I'm telling you now, these city girl minded women, some of them, they just won't do it. They can't see that. That's just not in them to do. But met Miss Sydney, joined Recession Proof. Okay. Got on Recession Proof, and somebody told me about changing my mindset. And I really started listening to that. And I really started to realize that this whole entire time since I had my first child, I just had a flawed perception of reality. My mindset had to change. I had to be able to look in the mirror and see myself as the father that I really am, and the father that I've always been. And the thing is, if you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hand because it's meant for you. That's another thing too. Anything you think about is simply a preview to the movie that's on the way. That's anything. Anything you think about, anything that comes to your head, it's a preview and a prelay to the movie that's going to pop down in your life. If it wasn't that way, you wouldn't have had the preview in your head. I'm going to go deeper than that. Everything you listen to, everything you read, you eat, you expose yourself to, anybody you sit next to, whatever church you go to, wherever situation you was born into and fell into your puzzle piece of life, is divine alignment for you to be doing whatever you seen in that preview of that movie of your head. That's the divine alignment that's what you're supposed to be doing with your life. That's the purpose on your life. Any big thought, any big business, any idea you see in your head, any child you have, men, any child we have, it's ours. Because you got to go deeper and think about this. And it's meant to be. Any kid you have, young man, if it weren't meant for you to have this child, and if it weren't meant for you to do your responsibility and due diligence as a father, that kid could have been born and stillborn. Or the kid, the egg could have missed, the sperm could have missed the egg floating down the fallopian tube. 500 billion sperms, when you release and ejaculate, heads to that egg, man. And it only takes one hit. 500 billion or million. 500 billion. Something like that. When you release inside of a woman, swim, and it take one of them to hit that egg. That one that hit that egg comes out, and that's your child. That's divine alignment. Nothing just happens. So when it happens like that, and as soon as it happens, your life, your purpose, your destiny, your everything is tied to your seed. Don't let nobody take that from you. Ever. Don't let nobody do that. Don't let nobody extort you for money in exchange for the relationship with your child. Ever. You have a job to do. And the thing is, the more you take care of your business and responsibilities as a parent, the more that life and favor unlocks for you. That's divine order for you to take care of your kids. It's divine order. So anybody that stands in the way of that, whether it be their mothers or anybody, have to be removed. Baby daddy, come on, man. So, back to Miss Sydney. I was introduced to something called getting a lawyer. And going for 50-50 custody. I didn't know that was available for me. I didn't even know this. And when I did know it, it took me time to embrace the fact that I had been asleep for so long and didn't know about joint custody. Didn't know that I have as many rights as the mother do. I've just been brainwashed, like a lot of us have. And it's okay. It's okay, you know. So I joined Recession Proof. And like I said, I had the LLC. But now I had to figure out, okay, I'm in Texas now. My kids is in St. Louis. How in the world am I going to come up with lawyer money, keep the child support paid, keep the lights on in my house, keep food in my refrigerator, still have a lifestyle of my own? How am I going to do this? Because I love my kids. So, for every problem, there's a strategy. Remember that too. I'm going to say that again. For every problem, there's a strategy. There is nothing that's a dead end. That's a lie. There is nothing that you cannot overcome. That's a lie. For every problem, there is a strategy in the book, on Google, maybe on the 15th page of Google. You may have to look a bit longer. It's somebody that's selling a course, a workbook. It's somebody you could call. It is, for every problem, there's a strategy. And I know this personally. So, introduce me to that. So now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get the money to do all of this. So I started learning about structuring your credit. Structuring your business credit profile to make money off of your business credit and not your personal credit. Because let me tell you another secret. I was behind on child support. I was in the hole some thousands. From paying, not paying, paying on Cash App, sending the mothers cash and giving them cash in their hands, doing all that kind of crazy stuff while I was on child support, being used and abused because I thought that was the way that parenting went. I had never seen healthy parenting before. I had never seen a healthy relationship in parenting. And a lot of women have not ever seen a healthy relationship in parenting. This is why they act the way they do with children. They don't know how to be a mother, because being a mother is being a good team player in conjunction. Thank you for tuning in to the Cavity Podcast. This is a production of Cousin Cavity LLC. Remember, we love you, but no one will ever love you as much as you love you. Until next time.
If you could save me from me, I'll be totally fine. But fake love and step down sometimes refuse to subside.